Honestly, don't know how to introduce this first edition of True. Wow, I just hit the table. Hello, my name is Diego Hernandez, and welcome to the first installment of Thirsty True Crime Thursday. Might figure out a new name for that. I am your host, Diego Hernandez. You might have also seen me on TikTok. By the way, please go make sure to follow my TikTok and look at my other videos, as well as follow my Instagram, because apparently I only have 1 million followers on TikTok and only 2,000 on Instagram. Anywho, without further ado, let's get on with the video. Now, this true crime story was the inspiration behind the movie The Girl Next Door, which came out in 2007. I'm talking about the story of Sylvia Likens. Sylvia Likens was born on January 3rd, 1949 in Lebanon, Indiana. She was the third born out of 5 children. Both of her parents were both carnival workers, meaning they were on the road most of the time, and they were also fairly poor. This was also the cause of many fights between Sylvia's parents, and it also caused them to divorce later on in life. All 5 children ended up living with their mother. However, they ended up going back to their father as their mother got arrested for shoplifting in the summer. Sylvia's father then decided to put the boys in the care of their grandparents, as he could not take care of all of them. Sylvia and Jenny went to a family friend known as Gertrude. Now, Gertrude was a single mother and had a family of her own, and she also made little money by ironing neighbors' clothes. Not to mention, she was dealing with crippling depression and had a heavy dose of prescription drugs. Clearly, she was not in any condition to take care of 2 teenage girls. But Sylvia's father had no other option, and so she left them with Gertrude, paying her $20 a week to take care of the 2 children. Now, the first 2 weeks went smoothly. Sylvia and her sister, who did I not mention had polio, were all treated kindly. However, that all changed after the 3rd week, as their father forgot to pay Gertrude the $20 at the end of that week. So Gertrude, angry, called the girls upstairs, pulled out a paddle, and began to beat both of the teenage girls, saying, "I took care of you bitches for 2 weeks for nothing." The following week, the father, knowing that he missed 1 week of pay, he ended up paying double the money. This was the beginning of something horrible, as Gertrude soon began to abuse both of the girls. She began to hit both of the girls with thick paddles and very thick leather belts. And whenever she was tired, she would ask one of her sons or daughters to take over her place, meaning she would ask one of her children to beat Sylvia or Jenny. And Gertrude often accused Sylvia of stealing, and as a punishment, she burned her fingertips, as well as turned off lit cigarettes on Sylvia's skin. She also took Sylvia to one of the church gatherings where they were serving free hot dogs, and she force-fed Sylvia until she was sick. And as punishment for throwing up, she made her eat her own vomit. She even encouraged her children to beat Sylvia up. Her kids practiced karate on her, as well as used her as a punching bag, slamming her onto walls and on floors, throwing her downstairs, cutting her skin, and then putting salt on the wounds. After this, she would be bathed in scalding hot waters. Gertrude also accused Sylvia of being a whore, as Gertrude would give sermons of sexual immorality while her children stomped Sylvia out. Sylvia was also forced to strip naked in the living room in front of everybody and shove empty Coca-Cola bottles up her vagina, while all of Gertrude's children watched, up to the point where the glass bottle broke inside of her vaginal canal. Sylvia was so beaten to the point where she was unable to use the bathroom. So much so that she would frequently wet her mattress, as she would be sleeping in a basement where she was locked away and forbidden access to food. Gertrude even invited other people in the neighborhood to have a go at her. The kids around the neighborhood and also her very own kids would beat her face in. Gertrude would tell her own children that Sylvia was a prostitute. Then she had one of the neighborhood kids, Ricky Hobbs, permanently carve "I am a prostitute and I'm proud of it" with a hot needle on Sylvia's abdomen. Crazy part is, some of the neighbors even witnessed this happening and did nothing. With absolutely no strength in Sylvia's body left, she attempted one last escape. She managed to get out of the front door, and the only reason she made it so far was because of Coy Herbert, a neighborhood boy who helped her out of the door. Eventually, Gertrude caught up to Sylvia and beat her with a rod, and then stomped on her head. Sylvia's body eventually went into shock, and she died on October 26, 1965, at the age of 16. The only reason people knew about her murder was because Sylvia's younger sister, Jenny, took the chance to escape and run to an officer, and she eventually notified him about the situation. Gertrude was immediately arrested on the spot, along with the sons and daughters that participated in the torture of Sylvia Likens. They all put the blame on Gertrude for encouraging them to torture Sylvia. Gertrude herself pleaded not guilty due to insanity. Now, there were so many other children, however, they proved to be too young to be charged with anything. Ultimately, on May 19, 1966, Gertrude was convicted of murder of the first degree and was sentenced to life in prison. And she, by a slim chance, avoided the death penalty. The rest of the children were all convicted of manslaughter and given 21 years in prison. However, 3 of them were paroled 3 years later. Gertrude, on the other hand, was released on parole as well. She ended up moving to another place and changing her name entirely. She eventually died on June 16th, 1990 at the age of 60 due to lung cancer, as she was a very heavy smoker. Karma's a bitch. And that wraps up this first edition of True Crime Video for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more if you like this content. As always, I am your host Diego, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.